So hey guys, today we are watching and roasting Roblox story videos. Let's start. Okay, no more talk about it and let's move on to the next video. Who created by It's Milo and they are making crazy Roblox story type videos.
A man was offered two choices, unlimited wealth or immortality. All he had to do was give him a bag of apples. He laughed and chose immortality. At first, it felt like the greatest decision ever. He lived without fear. He watched cities grow taller. Technology became unrecognizable. His grandchildren did too. Then they were gone. Soon, everyone he had ever loved was just a name in history books. Thousands of years passed. Nature swallowed every city. Eventually, Earth died. He drifted alone through space. He finally understood that immortality was never a gift. It was eternal torture in disguise.
So, are you doing the side quits in Roblox?
Everyone thought he was the most talented person alive, but nobody knew he stole everything he had. Because whenever he slapped someone, he could take their greatest ability. He slapped LeBron James, and suddenly he had the greatest basketball skills in the world. He slapped The Weeknd and gained the voice millions dreamed of having. Soon he had everything. Fame, money, awards. The world called him a legend, but nobody knew every achievement he had belonged to someone else. Years later, sitting alone in his mansion, he wanted to make something of his own. A song, a painting, an invention, anything. But every idea he had was borrowed from someone else. That's when he realized the cruelest part of his ability. He could steal every talent in the world, but he could never make one of his own.
Bro, why are you so sad? If I had this type of ability, believe me, I would save this guy and become the happiest person in this world.
This baby was born with the mind of a genius. He understood the doctor, the machines, and his parents' voices. But every time he tried to communicate, all that came out was crying. His mother assumed he was just a picky, hungry newborn. One afternoon, he reached for a toy across the room. It flew directly into his hand. Confused, he tried again, launching it across the room just as his parents rushed in. Before they could process what happened, he focused his mind on the lamp, then the chair, and finally lifted his entire crib off the floor.
Bro, I think this is not a genius. He is the stepson of Doctor Strange.
His parents gasped in terror, assuming the worst. To prove he wasn't a monster, he turned his focus to the wooden alphabet blocks on the rug. One by one, they levitated and arranged themselves neatly in midair. D, A, D. His father froze. The blocks rearranged again. M, O, M. His mother covered her mouth in shock. The baby smiled. His father stepped forward. Can you understand us? The baby nodded. His parents looked at each other. All this time, he wasn't crying. He was just trying to talk.
Nice story, but believe me, bro, your wife cheat on you.
A man dreamed of becoming a train conductor. On his very first day, he made a terrible mistake. One passenger died. He was arrested, found guilty, and sentenced to death. His execution was by electric chair. Just before they pulled the switch, he asked for one last request. A banana. They let him eat it. The switch was pulled. Electricity surged through him. Nothing happened. The guards couldn't believe it. They set him free. Years later, he became a conductor again. Somehow, he made the exact same mistake. Another passenger died. Sentenced to the chair again. The guards refused his last request. No bananas. They pulled the switch. Nothing happened. Completely confused, the executioner asked, "How did you survive without the banana?" The man smiled. The banana had nothing to do with it. I'm just a bad conductor.
What the heck, bro? Believe me, this one made me laugh so much.
The first time he heard someone's thoughts, he thought he was going insane. He was sitting in class when his teacher smiled and said, "Great job, everyone." But then he heard, "I can't believe half of them still don't understand this." The teacher never moved her lips. Nobody else reacted. That's when he realized he wasn't hearing voices. He was hearing thoughts. At first, he thought it was a gift. He could answer questions before teachers finished asking them. He knew when his friends were lying. He knew exactly what people wanted for their birthdays. But then he started hearing things he wasn't supposed to. His best friend smiling at him while thinking, "I only hang out with him because I feel bad for him." His parents telling him they loved him while thinking, "I don't know how to help him anymore." Every conversation became fake because he could hear the truth behind every word. Until one day, he walked through a crowded train station. Thousands of thoughts hit him at once. "I'm late. I forgot my wallet. I can't do this anymore." Then one thought cut through them all. "You can hear them too?" He looked up. A stranger was staring directly at him. The man smiled. "You can hear them just like me."
And that's how I meet my bro.
3 robbers burst through the restaurant door demanding money. The owner refused. One of them pulled out a gun and shot him. The waiter stood there frozen. He never forgot their faces. By the time the police arrived, the robbers were gone. Weeks later, all three walked back into the same restaurant. They sat at a table. The waiter recognized all three immediately. He walked over and took their order. 3 burgers? They nodded. The waiter walked into the kitchen, then came back out holding a gun. The 3 men froze. You killed my boss. One of them reached for his weapon. The waiter fired. The other 2 ran and he chased them outside. One tripped. The other was tackled by a police officer. He had already called the police. The injured robber was taken away in an ambulance, while the other 2 were arrested by the police. One of them looked back at the waiter. The waiter smiled and said, "Hope you enjoyed the service."
Bro, the last word, hope you enjoyed the service. Are those cooler than Antarctica?
Magic was believed to be a myth, until one day a boy reached for a glass and it flew straight into his hand. He started freaking out, then tried again. This time, the entire table lifted off the ground. He quickly put it down. Over the next few days, he discovered he could control fire. He could rise above the clouds, even heal himself. Then one afternoon, a man was shot right in front of him. The boy rushed over. The man was dying. Without thinking, the boy placed his hand over the wound. The bullet slowly flew out. The wound instantly disappeared. The man stared at it. "You're one of them," the boy froze. The man pulled out his phone. "I found him." 3 minutes later, every phone in the world received an alert, while military vehicles flooded the streets and helicopters filled the sky. The boy tried to fly away, but a massive net launched and wrapped around him. Soldiers raised their weapons. The commander gave the order, "Fire!" Bullets tore through the air. Then everything stopped. A mysterious man descended from the sky. He looked at the boy with tears. "I've been looking for you, son."
And that's how a villain is created. Okay, now let's move on to our next creator, whose name is Robozen.
This man stabbed his wife to death in a car. After making sure she was dead, he carefully wiped away every fingerprint. Then he drove to a remote location, dumped her body, and even threw away the knife after making sure it had no fingerprints on it. He believed he had planned the perfect crime and that nobody would ever catch him. A little later, he received a phone call from the police. They said, "Come quickly, your wife has been murdered." As soon as he arrived, the officers immediately arrested him and said, "You killed her." The man was shocked and kept insisting that he was innocent. But after he was taken to jail, he suddenly realized the mistake that gave him away. The police had never told him where his wife's body had been found, yet he had gone straight to the exact location without asking for the address.
I have only one word for this story, bro, sold so hard.
It was Valentine's Day, and a couple got into a heated argument. In a moment of anger, the boy shouted loudly at his girl. She lost her balance, fell from the building, and died instantly. Terrified, the boyfriend couldn't stop thinking that she would come back as a ghost to kill him. Desperate for help, he went to a mystic and told him everything. After listening carefully, the mystic said, "She can only jump, so tonight sleep under your bed. You'll be safe there." That night, the boyfriend went home and slept under his bed. Throughout the night, he kept hearing jumping sounds. He was certain that she had come back. The next morning, the mystic rushed to the man's room. As soon as he entered, he found the boyfriend dead under the bed. Suddenly, he realized that she had fallen head first from the building. That meant her ghost had been jumping head first.
Bro, what? All because of an argument, and someone said me in the comments that they also argue again after the death.
When it was this boy's birthday, he made one wish that his grandmother would stay with him forever. The very next day, his grandmother was walking on the sidewalk when an out-of-control car hit her and she passed away. His father thought it was just a coincidence. The next year, on the boy's birthday, he wished that his mother would stay with him forever. The very next day, his mother died from poisoning. His father started thinking if this boy really had some kind of superpower. When the boy turned 18, his father had become very old. On his birthday, the boy smiled and said that his father would stay with him forever. His father got scared. He couldn't sleep that night. The next day, he sat quietly looking at the clock waiting for something to happen to him. The next night came, but he was still alive. He thought it had all been just a coincidence. Then at midnight, he heard someone crying from the neighbor's house. At that moment, his father realized that he was not the boy's real father.
Bro, what the heck this is? His father must have died just by seeing this.
This man took just one spoonful of soup at a restaurant and suddenly started throwing up non-stop. When the restaurant manager saw him, he quickly asked, "Why are you throwing up so much?" But the man was in too much pain to speak, so he only pointed at the soup. The manager thought there was something wrong with it, so he took one spoonful to check. Seconds later, he also started throwing up non-stop. He immediately called the chef and shouted, "What kind of soup did you make?" The chef looked at the bowl and confidently said, "The soup looks perfectly fine." Then he took a spoonful himself. The very next second, he also started throwing up. Feeling guilty, the manager told the man, "I'm sorry, I'll refund your money for the soup." But then the man said, "It's okay. I drank too much alcohol before coming here, so I threw." At that moment, the manager realized there was no soup left in the bowl. It was the man's vomit.
Lamau, so that's the reason why the soup is green.
Two thieves were stealing inside a store when they suddenly heard a loud noise. One thief hid in a corner, peeked out secretly, and got terrified. A robber was standing there holding a gun at the shopkeeper. Panicking, he immediately ran to his partner, explained the whole situation, and said, "Let's get out of here." His friend replied, "No way. If these robbers loot the whole store, what will be left for us to steal?" So they came up with a plan. One thief threw a skateboard in front of the counter, which distracted the robber and drew him toward it. Just then, the second thief crept up from behind and shoved him hard to the ground. At that exact moment, the first thief rushed over, grabbed the robber's shotgun, and tossed it to the shopkeeper. The shopkeeper quickly picked up the shotgun and brought the robber under control.
Bro, I think they are not heroes. They are the heroes sent by God.
This girl was kidnapped by a kidnapper. He called her family and said, if you want to see your daughter alive again, you must pay me $1 million. But her family didn't have that kind of money. Her mother honestly replied that they couldn't afford it. The kidnapper stayed silent for a moment instead of hanging up. Then the mother made a strange request. She asked if she could pay the ransom in installments. After a pause, the kidnapper agreed. From that week on, a heavy sealed box arrived at their house every single week. The mother always accepted the package herself and never let her son go near it. One day, her son asked, Mom, what's inside those boxes? She calmly replied, don't worry. Everything is under control. Weeks turned into months, and the boxes kept arriving. The mother kept paying for them every week. Then one day, she sat her son down, looked him in the eyes, and said, your sister has finally come back. You don't have to wait for her anymore. But something felt very wrong. His sister never returned home. There were no phone calls, no visits, and not even a single glimpse of her. Yet his mother acted as everything was completely normal. That night, the boy couldn't sleep. He quietly went downstairs where the newest box was still sitting unopened. He slowly opened it. Inside, he discovered the horrifying truth. The box contained his sister's body part.
Like what? The girl was kidnapped by a kidnapper? Yeah, no shit, Sherlock.
Late one night, a girl was sitting in the metro looking at her phone. Then she noticed that a woman sitting in front of her had been staring at her for a long time. The woman was sitting between two men. The girl kept trying to ignore her again and again, but the woman continued staring at her. Seeing this, the girl started getting scared. At the next station, a new passenger entered the metro. He was very tall and came to sit beside the girl. Even then, the woman didn't look at the man. She kept staring only at the girl, which made the girl even more frightened. The two men sitting beside the woman also never looked at the girl even once. Then the next stations arrived. The tall man stood up, grabbed the girl's hand, and as soon as the doors opened, he took her outside. The girl started screaming because she thought he had kidnapped her. Then the tall man said, I didn't kidnap you. I saved your life because the woman sitting in front of you was already dead. And the two men sitting beside her were holding her up.
Wow, bro, that's such a satisfying story. And the taller man is a savior.
This boy accidentally killed his classmate during a fight. Afraid of getting caught, he threw the body into the old well behind his house. The next morning, he returned to remove the body forever. But when he looked inside, it had completely disappeared. The boy was confused but never told anyone. A few years later, he got a job. One day, he had a serious argument with his boss. Filled with anger, he called his boss behind the house and pushed him into the same well. The next morning, he came back to remove the body. It was gone again. 10 years later, his elderly mother became very sick. She stayed in bed all day and he no longer wanted to take care of her. Believing the magical well would hide his final crime, he threw his mother into it. The next morning, her body was still there. He waited another day, but nothing changed. Then he finally realized the horrifying truth. His mother had been secretly removing every body from the well.
Okay, so if you don't understand, let me tell you. Whenever that guy committed a crime and threw the body into the well, his mom would disappear the body. That means she was hiding her son's crime. So maybe now you understand.
My school's richest kid purposely spilled hot soup all over my brand new white sneakers. When I demanded he pay for them, he threw a $100 bill on the floor and laughed. Pick it up with your teeth, broke boy. His dad was on the school board, so I picked it up and walked away. But I had a plan. The next day at lunch, he left his custom Gucci backpack unattended to talk to a girl. I casually snatched it, went to the restroom, and pulled out his brand new iPhone 16 Pro Max. I immediately sold it to the school's tech nerd for $300 cash. 10 minutes later, he realized his phone was gone and came charging at me in the cafeteria, screaming, you scumbag, hand it over or you're expelled. I pulled out my phone, showed him a clip of him leaving his bag unattended, and smirked. I didn't steal anything. Bro, someone else grabbed it while you were flunking your pickup lines. He started sweating because his dad's business documents were on that phone. He grabbed my shirt and begged, I'll give you $500 right now to help me find it. I pulled out his $100 bill from yesterday, handed it back, and said, keep your money, champ. Your phone is sitting in the nerd's locker, and he charges a $1,000 recovery fee.
What the hell? I think this video was leaked by UI. So hey anime fans, that's the reality of UI. Now let's move on to our next YouTube story creator, whose name is Jim Stories.
My goofy-ass son almost shot me in the head with a bow and arrow when I got home from work. You're already dead, he said in a creepy, demonic voice. I immediately dropped my suitcase and tried to grab him, but then he noticed that $100,000 had fallen out of it. He instantly snatched the money and ran away. He climbed the biggest tree in our backyard and started yelling, catch me if you can! Then he started laughing like a maniac. I was so pissed that I punched the tree so hard I almost broke my arm. I went back inside, but I could still hear his evil, demonic laughter coming from the backyard. I decided to drive to the pet store to buy the biggest cage I could find. But the second I grabbed the car door handle, he shot an arrow straight through my front tire. He thought he had won, but 10 minutes later I came back with a chainsaw and cut down the entire tree. I got my suitcase back, but I still had one problem. My son was possessed. I called my brother, who was an exorcist, and handcuffed my son to the gate. 10 minutes later, my brother showed up. Where's that demon, brother? I pointed at my son. My brother looked at him and said, this is a serious case. He pulled out his giant cross and started praying. Leave this kid's body immediately, you demon! He shouted and sprinkled his head with salt. My kid slapped the cross out of his hand and started laughing. My brother just looked at me and said, that's not a demon. This kid is just spoiled.
Bro, now you have to do only one thing. Just file a lawsuit against your son. They literally try to kill you, stole for you, and destroy your property.
A fat Karen got on the bus with a kid even fatter than her. So round he looked like a bowling ball. She walked up to me and said, "Excuse me, don't you know this is my seat? Leave immediately." She had no idea she picked the wrong person. I didn't even try to argue because if she sat on me, I'd look like I got run over by a steamroller. A moment later, her spoiled brat started crying so loud that the bus windows almost shattered. "I want to play Roblox, Mom!" The woman stood up so fast she almost caused a car crash. And every time she walked, she made a squeaking noise like a semi-truck backing up. She slapped my hand, making my phone fall out of it, and handed it to her little angel. I yelled, "What are you doing? I have my credit card connected to that phone." She smiled, turned to her kid, and said, "You hear that, honey? This man said you can buy as many Robux as you want." The kid immediately bought himself a Valkyrie hat. She had officially crossed the line. I pointed out the window and said, "Look, that guy over there is giving away free donuts." I knew she's so giddy she will ignore everything else. It took her 5 seconds to turn around. "Where?" While she was looking, I grabbed her ID from her back pocket and ran off the bus. Wish her good luck in comments paying off her $1 million credit card.
Bro, what the hell? This bowling ball family hits hard.
I came back home from school and my dad slapped me across the face saying, "That's what you get for being such a loser." The next day I went to school and got bullied again, just like I had every single day for the past month. I never told my parents about it, but when I got home that day there was no dinner waiting for me. My mom looked at me and said, "When are you finally gonna become a man and stand up to them?" I have no idea how they know about me being bullied. The next day my mom handed me some pills and said they were vitamins. "Sweet dreams, honey." I swallowed them. I immediately collapsed onto the floor and fell asleep in a split second. When I woke up, I was in a helicopter 5,000 feet above the ground. My dad looked at me and smiled. "Oh, my little boy finally woke up. Finally you can spread your wings, son." Then he pushed me out of the helicopter. I barely managed to open my parachute and landed in the middle of a forest. I was completely shocked because it felt like I had just teleported from my house into the wilderness. The only things in my backpack were a flashlight and a hunting knife. It was freezing, so I started a fire. Then, so I wouldn't starve, I hunted a wild boar. It took me 3 years to find my way back home using a compass. I finally knocked on the door. My dad opened it and smiled. "Finally, you proved you're a man."
The dad took your son needs to be a man a bit too seriously. But bro, what if the son could not survive and they found his body?
I walked past a woman who looked like Michael Jackson while trying to prank someone and dropped an envelope stuffed with cash right in front of her. "Oh, is this yours?" The woman looked at me with the most disgusted expression and said, "This isn't mine. Don't waste my precious time, you little ah." Then she walked away. I opened the envelope right in front of her and yelled, "Oh my God, $20,000, thank God." I said it even louder just to make sure she heard me. She immediately turned around. "You know what? I just remembered. I was carrying the exact same envelope to pay for my son's Fortnite boot camp, and now it's gone. It must have fallen out, so give it back." I looked at her, but now it's mine. She dropped to her knees and started screaming so loud I swear people in space could hear her. "This is mine! Somebody help me! This goofy kid stole my life savings!" 10 seconds later, 5 huge security guards surrounded me and charged at me. I did a backflip over them, making all 5 crash into each other. They got back up, called the police, and told them I had stolen their money. The cops grabbed me and lifted me into the air like a coat on a coat rack. "Hands up, little boy! Give the money back to its owner!" The thing was, the money was fake, so I handed the envelope to one of the guards. 7 days later, that same security guard was sitting in prison for trying to use the fake money from my envelope.
And then I woke up. Like, what can I say about this story?
I was standing in line at the store when this spoiled little kid started crying because his mom wouldn't buy him a skinwalker. She looked at him and said, "Stop crying or that ugly man over there will come into your room tonight and take you away." Then she pointed right at me. Her son looked at me, threw his toy car at me, and instantly stopped crying. So I walked over to her and said, "Do you even know who you're calling ugly? I know I'm not ugly because my grandma always says I'm her handsome guy." But she completely ignored my question, turned to her son and said, "See, now you've made the ugly man mad. He's definitely gonna kidnap you tonight. 100%. Then they walked away. The kid stopped crying for good, but at what cost? Because she had just made the ugly guy furious. I followed them for the next 3 hours until they finally got home. And honestly, I've never seen a worse driver in my life. I wrote down their address, then drove to the nearest Walmart to buy a ski mask and a baseball bat. I still don't understand is how she could call me ugly when every cashier in that Walmart asked for my phone number. Later that night, I waited until it got dark so nobody would see me. I broke into their house, walked into their daughter's room, grabbed her by the hand, and took her to her mom's bedroom. I woke her up and said, "The ugly guy just came for your daughter."
Bro, maybe in my opinion, the insult was toward your mom and her son. So why did you break her daughter in the video? I did not understand anything. Can someone explain me in the comments?
I woke up and saw my mom standing at the sink, washing my RTX 5090. "What are you doing?" I yelled. She looked at me and said, "Your computer was so dusty, so I decided to clean it." I was so shocked by how ridiculous that was that I couldn't even speak. I ran straight to the bathroom, grabbed her makeup palette, and fed it under running water. "Hey, your makeup was dirty too, so I cleaned it for you." I'm convinced my dad only married her because she knows how to cook. She clenched her teeth and said, "Oh, you want to play games? Fine, let's play." The very next day, she decided to wash my car. Not the outside, the engine. After that, it wouldn't even start. That's when she finally crossed the line. So the next day, I listed our house house for sale for an insanely low price. I didn't tell my mom until after it had already sold. She started crying tears of joy. Oh my God, we can finally move into a bigger house. But she didn't know it was my revenge. Right then, the doorbell rang. The delivery guy smiled and said, "Your packages are here." My mom looked at the delivery guy's car and collapsed. I had spent every single dollar from the house on 30 RTX 5090 Super. My mom had a heart attack, and now I live in a house made entirely out of graphics card boxes. It wasn't worth it.
Bro, last one made me laugh so much. Like this is the definition of a small match, big fire.
My sister walked into my room, threw a toaster at me, and yelled, "Booyah!" Then she turned back to her phone and shouted, "This loser just lost 100 aura points. 100 likes and I'll do whatever the top comment says." Then she slammed my door shut as hard as she could. I checked her profile. The video already had 10,000 likes. A few seconds later, I heard someone starting a chainsaw in the living room, which was weird because my sister can't even flush a toilet by herself. Suddenly, someone started cutting a huge hole through my bedroom door with a chainsaw while yelling, "1,000 likes for the next top comment challenge." I'd had enough. I grabbed my sister's phone and flushed it down the toilet. Then I handcuffed her and dragged her onto the roof of our house. I pulled out my phone, started a live stream, and said, "100 likes and I'll let her go." Then I heard our neighbor shouting that he will take her for free. She heard it and immediately dropped to her knees, burst into tears, and started begging. "Please, I only did it because he made me do it." "Who told you to steal all my aura points?" I asked. "My top commenter." I checked his username. "Big bald guy." Then I looked at the address. I froze. I only knew one person stupid enough to put his own address in his username. My dad was a fat, bald dude, and the address was my address.
Oh my God. So the father enjoyed everything. That's the coolest father I have ever seen. So hey guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. So if you enjoyed, please do subscribe and tell me in the comments what's your next video should be.